When we're talking about the spine is not just a straight line. The spine has this curve to it. And when we're talking about the spine, there are solid parts to it. You have the rib cage here. So this part doesn't really bend much. You have the pelvis here. This part doesn't bend. The parts of your spine that bend are here and here. So when we do a pose, for example, when you bend over forwards, your leg bones kind of sit here. Kind of like that. So when you bend forwards, a lot of people make the mistake that when you bend forwards, your hip stays in place, your leg stays in place, and all you really do is go like this. And that's how you bend forward. The problem is that's not how it works, because there's a few reasons. One, this puts all of the rotation into the hip joint. That it makes this joint the one that has to rotate. And like we talked about before, there's this thing called impingement that can make things kind of painful if you go too far. The other problem is balance. This pose is horribly balanced. What happens when you bend forward is your hips actually, I think if we just draw this as a box instead of a circle. Actually, this is actually the more common issue that I often see. So let's go back to this example. Because if you bend over like this, all of the bending is happening right there. Because if you don't move your hip box stays like this. All of the bending is now happening in here. So when you rotate forward, your hips actually do a couple things. The other issue, though, sorry, my brain is trying to make sure I talk about everything at once, and it's scattering my thoughts. So I see this where you get way too much bend, like at the very base of the spine. The other one I see is this, where the hips stay where they are. This is the front. The legs stay where they are. And then your spine does this. And I'll draw boxes so it's more easy to see the shapes. And you get this. And the problem with this is also not how the spine works, because now you're doing a lot of bending here, but see how this back is just flat? That doesn't make for a comfortable pose, and it's not how the hips work, because again, the pose is very much off balance. Even if you go to the toes, there's too much weight on this side. So this is what happens when you lean forward. You have your feet here. Your legs actually go backwards like this. Your butt goes back like this. So your pelvis rotates around as your butt goes backwards. The reason being is as you lean back, your pelvis wants to rotate. So this is the front. So the front of your pelvis, wait, sorry. My brain is, I need more sleep. Sorry, yeah. Pelvis rotates. You lean this way. Yeah, the pelvis goes upwards. Yeah, sorry. Goes up. So the pelvis points up as you lean back, because otherwise it, like, see how this helps keep the pelvis at a nice angle to the hips? You're not pinching the hips. And then as you bend forward, your body is like this. So what this does is it keeps your body over your feet. See how the body shifts back to keep your weight over your feet. This balances you. And the reason the hips pivot inwards like this is, again, to help with that hip leg angle, to make things more comfortable. So what this does, rather than having this kind of there and then like this shape, it rounds out the shape. So this is why your pelvis kind of tucks in. Now the same thing happens when you're sitting. So if you have a chair here, your character, as they sit in a chair, their pelvis isn't just flat like this and then the legs come out. It is if you're sitting like proper, super straight back. Your pelvis will kind of be square. But if you're more relaxed in your chair and you're kind of slouching in it, your pelvis actually rotates out like this. So the front is this way, and then your leg comes out. And what that does is it gets rid of this 90-degree bend and creates a more comfortable curve. So your pelvis rotates and pivots to make the position more comfortable. You don't want to go too crazy with that, because otherwise the front of your pelvis will be facing straight up in the air and like it'll look very awkward. But there is that pivot rotation. Your pelvis doesn't just stay in place while everything else moves around it. The pelvis actually shifts and rotates. So that is something to keep in mind. New Spider-Verse trailer being out, I was curious how to get the animation to actually work. A lot of moments where it should look like something pops, but in motion it doesn't. Also, how do they make twos look so fluid? My twos always look like blocking. So that's a good question. Now, how they make it work on twos and how they make it where the motion shouldn't pop is, it's all about the spacing. They are understanding the concepts of spacing very well. How you ease in and make something move really fast while still keeping it feeling without that it's not popping. Part of that is using smears. So if you have a pose for a hand here, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and you have a pose for a hand here, so this is frame, let's say 1, and then this would be frame, so if we're doing this on twos, this would be 3. This would pop because right here there's no data, there's no information on what happened. So instead, if we add 1 frame between that of a smear, maybe we'll keep it on 2. So instead we do frame 3, and frame 3 is just this. It's something like this. This will read way better because you have frame 1, which is a still hand. The next one, the next pose, is this big smear of a hand, and then frame 5, the hand is in place. So that helps the audience read the action. So they use smears, they use multiples. That helps with making more exaggerated spacing read well. So it's a matter of understanding spacing really well and using smears, multiples, and other things to help. How should I animate countering rigs for cog or hip? I tend to use the cog because if you start using the hip control, what you can end up with, so for those of you who aren't familiar, your rig has, at least the AM rigs, maybe other rigs, you have your torso, you have your hips, you have your leg. So you'll have like 3 body ring controls like this. You'll have a hip control here, and then you'll have what's called the cog, which is another kind of hip control. This green one, when you rotate it, it'll rotate all the upper body. This blue one only rotates the pelvis. So you could have the body standing completely still and the pelvis will just rotate by itself. The problem with that is the pelvis, because that is the root of your spine, if you start just moving the pelvis by itself and nothing else moves, that looks really weird. You can't move your pelvis without it affecting the rest of your body. So when you're animating, the cog is generally the main thing you use. The pelvis control will be there for polishing. The hip control, is that what I said? Yeah, the hip control is there for polishing. Does it affect when I animate for games engine if I animate from cog? No. Animating the cog in a game engine is normally the same. The main thing with a game engine is the way a character moves is different, because in a game engine, rather than having a character move by their own force, the game engine, essentially your character is this little cube on the ground, and that is what moves and jumps in the air and whatnot. And then you have to animate the character over top of this cube doing things like walking. So this cube is the thing that's moving, and you have to match your animation to that node movement. So that's the main difference, but you can still use the cog to move your body parts. So let's see here. Did I miss any other questions? The topic, but Bo once said that you guys would love to open a small studio of your own in the future. Would you guys hire people from the community if that happens? I told him you could pay me in pastries. I would happily work for you guys. We still want to open our own studio. That's still a project that we want to do. Right now it's kind of on hold because of just a lot of things going on in the world and with our lives. We've had to put it on hold, unfortunately, but it's still something we would love to do. A big part of what we want to do with that studio is create a place that is more, it's less about competing with other studios and more about helping you guys get to those other studios, if that makes sense. We want to create a studio that is going to help you all reach your goals and your dream studios. Still a lot of planning to do on that and how to do it though. Let's see here. Creating balance and CG animation, nice. Case of counter rotation, I think cog works better. Does it affect from the animation game? Thanks, I was scared because I animated the spine counter with cog and thought I wouldn't translate as well. No, it should work fine. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? I don't think so. Okay, so I think with that, we'll get back to doing a couple of reviews. And let me just... this up. All right, so first up we have Mitchell. We'll take a look at yours, and you updated the link, so I'll open that as well. So let's take a look at this.
Okay, who would like to get stabbed first? Okay, who would like to get stabbed first?
Nice. Let me turn down that audio.
Okay, who would like to get stabbed first?
Yeah, so this is coming along really well. I really like this expression here. I think that's working very well. One thing I would recommend is when he comes in here, have him, I would recommend having eye darts here to show, because he's obviously coming into a room with a lot of people, but he's not really looking at anyone or anything. I think possibly having him looking more, I guess you could say, towards camera at first, and then maybe having him dart over his eyes to the side, and then maybe back the other way as he looks in the room. Having a little bit of a head turn as well as he looks can add a lot of showing him like entering a room with a lot of people. And then he closes the door. And when he closes the door, I would recommend the torso is feeling a bit odd, the way it kind of pulls up like that. I think you could maybe make that a little less of the rotation in the torso and more pushing inwards this way. A little less this way and more towards the door. So he goes to close the door and then like pushes his body into it to get the door closed. And I think that would work better for like the arm dragging and then coming in. I'd also recommend watching the wrist, because as he closes it, this becomes a very awkward angle for his arm. This looks very painful. So I would recommend as he closes the door, similar to how your wrist actually moves in your reference, rotate the wrist. Maybe in this case you'd have to rotate his hand this way so he gets a better, more comfortable angle in there. For the hand holding the knife, I would recommend posing the hand a little more clearly, because right now all these fingers look very similar and then just this one sticks out. When you're holding something like a knife, when you're holding an object, and I can use to replicate that. So I have this hand maquette that I use for helping me draw hands. So I'll just grip that. When you grip something, generally your grip has see how my knuckles have a bit of a curve to them? This is an important part of holding an object, is your fingers. So if you have this hand pose, your index finger might be out more, but your knuckles are kind of more like this. See how there's that curve rather than it being flat. The pinky, because of your metacarpals, the bones inside the hand, curls inward. So you can see there's a curve to my knuckles on this side, where from the pinky side, you have your main index finger here, but you can see all of the other bones, and then there's the pinky there. So you get this curve on the back of the hand. It's not perfectly flat. Okay, Stoff creates. So with this, something you want to use is the cup control on the hand to cup that hand a little bit and really play with getting that curve of the knuckles rather than it being flat. That's going to help a lot with your hand pose there. And then this mouth shape feels just a little bit too, it's not quite realistic. Yeah, I like this hand. It's a really nice little thing that you can pose all the fingers. So really nice in getting to be able to look at hand poses when you're drawing without having to actually use your own hand. So for the mouth shape, something that is giving an odd feeling is the mouth is basically doing this U shape. And that doesn't work with how the mouth works. the mouth can't really do that. So your mouth, and we kind of talked about this. Ooh, awesome. Yes, that, by the way, Staff, I haven't said this to you because I haven't streamed really when you were around, but that Zelda and Link rig they're fantastic. Like, watching Bo work on them was just like, wow. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. So let me go back here, and I'm gonna open up the facial talk I did a few weeks back. So when we're talking about facial muscles, now this may look a little complicated because it's all the muscles at once, but when we're talking about facial muscles, there are a few main ones that are important. So the first ones are this set right here, right there. These are your levator muscles, these ones right there. The levator muscles give you your sneers, your up close to the nose smear, as well as your kind of more under the eye sneer. Next one we have, these are the zygomatic muscles, the zygomaticus. These are connected to your zygomatic bone, your cheekbone. And these are your smiling muscles. So they pull the mouth in this direction. The levator muscles pull up in that direction. You have the risorius, which is across. That does your fake smile. That's the haha, like straight across smile. And then you have these ones down here. These are your depressor muscles. These pull down, and that's kind of what you use to do your pout, like pull the lip out. It kind of pulls in that direction. And then this last one, this really big one, that is your platysma. The platysma is your like muscle where it pulls down in the corners, and you get those neck striations of the muscle because it's a big sheet muscle. So when you look at this, there's no real way to get like an upside down U shape like that, because to do that, there's no way to pull this down while also pushing this up. It's not really a possible shape. So here I did a bunch of different shape examples about how the mouth pulls when you're doing things. This would be the platysma pulling out this way. This is the risorius pulling straight out. And then we have the zygomatic muscles. So you can see you have 1, 2, 3 directions that you can go with the corners of your mouth. And then here, when we have the sneer, this is the levator muscles, levator labii, pulling up along with some of the risorius pulling down. So you can't really do, again, that upside down U shape like this. So something I recommend is learning these muscles, because it helps a lot with knowing the limits of a mouth shape. Now, you don't have to always keep doing this. Like if you're working on something like Hotel T, Hotel T is very animated. They make mouth shapes like this, they make them like that. They do all sorts of funny shapes, but they're not doing a realistic shot. In the case of what you're doing here, you are doing a far more realistic shot. So this mouth shape doesn't really work on the character because of that. So what I would recommend is keeping in mind those muscles, maybe having something that pulls down this way and maybe sneers a little bit like that. Can you send that to me? Sure. I think I have that. Let me See if I have that in a Dropbox link. Let me just... I'm gonna open this up. And then I'm gonna go... This is just... like, I'm gonna give this out to all of you, but I don't want to do one thing because... why not? So you're gonna go... There we go. Give it a little signature. Just in case if you guys share it around, people know where it where it came from. That way everyone can have access to it. Wait, is it Pratt Bros or the Pratt Bros? I think it's Pratt Bros, right? Hey, Jinger Snipe, how are you? Is it sad that I don't even know our own Twitch? Like, is it Pratt Bros or the Pratt Bros? Is it, I think it's twitch.tv/Pratt Bros, right? Yeah. So here you guys go. This is the Dropbox link to that file. So hopefully that can help you guys. It's, yeah, there is a Pratt Bros Discord there as well. Maybe you guys can put that link in there as well. I might do that later as well. Just drop that in. So yeah, awesome. Sorry, brain. My brain is still very tired. Words. So, Ginger Snipe. Okay. Yeah, I see. Not Ginger. Oh, I hope you're cold. You get over that quickly. So yeah, getting back to the shot here. Learning facial anatomy, learning facial musculature was a huge part in me having a better understanding of how to pose a face. Because one of the things I struggled with a lot when I was a student was, again, knowing where the mouth moves, like where the mouth corners go, how do they move? I was just kind of randomly moving them around without having an understanding of it. And what it led to was a lot of mouth shapes that just didn't work. Having that understanding, especially for the overall shapes of, or the overall directions, like something that helped me was this, the 4 cardinal directions of the mouth, kind of like a compass. Like a compass has north, south, east, and west. A mouth has, we'll start with the 4 cardinal directions of a mouth is smile, fake smile. I always forget what that expression is. It's not a sneer. It's more of smile, fake smile, disgust, and then sneer. So if we draw this out, we have the north, which is sneer, sneer, smile, fake smile, and disgust. I don't know what to call this one. There's another word for it, but my brain's not remembering it. Like eesh. That's the only thing I can think of. So these are the 4 cardinal directions of a corner of the mouth. They can't go straight down. They can't really move in any other direction than those. So that's it. Like, that's all you really have. And then when your mouth comes in, that is one muscle. And that is the orbicularis oris, this big round muscle here. That is your mouth pucker, the ooh shape. That is just the whole round muscle around your mouth constricting. So that's it. That is going into this circle, going inwards, which gives you this. So you can combine those together to get different expressions. You can get a cocky smile by using a real smile and a fake smile. You can get a very angry face by using disgust and sneer. You can have a neutral and a sneer, and maybe a little bit of the disgust on the other side. You can do a lot of very different things, but you only really have like 4 main directions for a corner of a mouth. And that helped me a lot, both in animating, but also drawing. You can get like all these mouth shapes were done just using those base rules. And then the other rule I use for mouth shapes is straights versus curves. So this is a great rule on creating simple, appealing mouth shapes. So here we have this mouth shape that is like just random gibberish, doesn't work. But if you use straight versus curves, you'll notice all of these mouth shapes have like one curve and then like a straighter line. One straight line and a more curved one. Even these, straight, curve, more straight, more curved, straight, curve. The other term you could use for this is simple and complex. One side is simpler, the other side is more complex. And this is a great way to consider your mouth shapes. If you have a simple side, the other side will have more of a curve. Simple side, more of a curve. Even on a simple shape like this, you have this one's pretty straight and this one has a more curved shape. And using that as a base rule, it can help you get appealing mouth shapes without like getting like ooh, or that doesn't really look interesting. So I hope that helps with this. Now for the okay here, it's not quite reading, because if you say okay, right now you're doing O, but he's kind of doing this with his upper lip. He's going O, or you're doing this down. If you say O, your upper lip you don't really have much control over your upper lip, by the way. That right here in the middle, there's no muscle, so you can't just push this up. So this shape here is it feels like his mouth is getting pulled down like that. And that isn't quite working for like an angry face. If I say okay, it might come down a little bit, but I think it's a little too low. You want a little bit more of an open mouth there. But then from there, the k, when you say okay, your teeth come together to do the k. It's hard to do a k sound with your mouth open. Okay. Like, it's really hard to do without bringing your teeth together. If you try it yourself. Okay. You see how my k sounds a lot more like k. It doesn't come through properly. So having him O and then k, bring the teeth together, and then okay, then his jaw pops back down for the A. And then who, really push those lips out. This is an important part of when you're doing dialogue, is lips move forwards and backwards. A good example of this is saying the words forwards and backwards. If I turn my head sideways here, if I say forwards, see how my lips go forwards, they go out. If I say backwards, see how my lips go in, out, in, out, forwards, backwards. So when you say something like who, see how much my lips go out. That will really help sell the ooh on this expression. Ooh. And then who would, so there'll be a little jaw drop on would. Then like, who would like, the I will pull the corners out. Who would like to? The tongue here is kind of sticking out. That's more of a th sound. If you say t, it's more your tongue tapping the roof of your mouth. So when he goes, who would like to? See how my jaw goes t? It drops down to do the t, but my tongue taps the roof of my mouth. It doesn't go between my teeth. Otherwise it'd be who would like to, who would like to go first. To and stabbed, the corners will be a little tighter. It's not a stabbed. Ah sound will have a rounder corner, but an ah pulls in the corner here because you're using the risorius or zygomatic muscles more. Sta, ah. And first, to do a f, you can't do a f with your mouth open. He's going ha, like a f is done by putting your bottom lip to your top teeth. F, f, f. So if you're going, who would like to get stabbed first? You can't do it. It's he. You need to to get that. So really work on those mouth phonemes. What I would recommend, just film yourself. Take your camera and just film like this of your face and just say the line and emphasize the words. So who would like to get stabbed first? And see how that works. Also film it from the side and get that forward and back. That'll help you get those mouth phonemes in. And then for this hand, I would recommend adding a little drag to the knife, just so his hand doesn't feel stiff, but you get a little bit of swing and overlap in there. That'll help loosen up that stiffness. You could also have him lead with the blade if you wanted to. So he leads with the blade or drags, whichever way you want to go, but that'll help remove that stiffness in the hand. So I think those are my main notes for this. Not dailies. Which. So if you have any questions on that, please let me know. But hopefully that helps. So with that, let's see if there were any questions. I'm really struggling with facial animation cam. Could you send that to me? Yeah, okay. So I'm gearing up to render my shot, but I've got a strange issue. The further the camera is zoomed out from Stuart, the more apparent his seams are. It's these black lines that make him look like a puppet. I've been told it's a UV issue, but I don't really have any experience dealing with stuff like this. Any ideas? Let me see here. There's a link here that I might have that could help. Oh, I'm glad that you think it's helpful, Gary. That means a lot. And facial animation is difficult. Like, seriously, facial animation is tough. I found personally that learning facial muscles was a huge part in helping me. It helped remove a lot of the complexity of the face, because you have like 4 eyebrow controls, you have all these mouth controls, you have cheek controls. It's like there's so much. But once you learn how the muscles work, it kind of makes it a lot easier, because like the eyebrows can only really go up because you have your frontalis muscles here that pull the brow up, and that's all it does, is it can only pull up. You can't just randomly pull bits of your eyebrow. Your procerus muscles, the ones here, they pull inwards to the bridge of your nose, and they connect kind of here to the middle of your brow, and you can feel that when you frown. You can see my fingers don't go down, they go in. So when you're doing a frown, it's not just the brows dropping, it's the brows pulling in here. So it really helps to kind of fix those issues. Now, in terms of the issues with the rig, where's that article here? Sorry, there we go. This might help. Can you focus more on my mentor notes? Sure, I can do that, Saha. Do you have your mentor notes anywhere I can see them? Oh, Scott Farrell's notes right here. Okay. So this might help you on that rig issue with the textures, Mitch. It could be an issue with your camera near clip and far clip planes. For those of you who aren't familiar with those terms, a near clip and a far clip plane is essentially a setting in your camera that essentially, if you get too close or too far from an object, it starts to stop rendering it properly. It's like if you remember old video games where when you'd look off in the distance, you'd see this fog in the distance, and as you walked closer, you'd see objects start appearing. That render distance is how far the engine would render until things were unloaded. So if you got closer, you'd see things render in. As you backed away, you'd see things render out. Maya has the same thing. If you get too close, the near clip will start to clip the objects. If you get too far, it starts to unload them to save on memory. So if you select your camera and you adjust those values to make your far clip see further and make your near clip see closer, that might help fix that. After doing some Googling, I got some results suggesting it was a MIP mapping issue. Let me open Maya. Another issue, I've seen this with the Sloan rig a few times. And I'm just going to open Maya here quick. And see if I can find this option that might help. It's my opening. There we go. I like this song. So, come on, Maya. Stop being slow. Sorry, my Maya is being belligerent. It doesn't want to... It takes a long time for my Maya to boot up. There we go. There we go. It's working again. So I'm going to reference in... You're using Stuart, so I'll do the same thing. So give it a second while he loads in. For some reason his textures aren't showing up. Just browse for his textures here. There we go. Yeah, Blender is awesome. I want to use Blender. I was thinking of, at some point doing like, I've never used Blender really. I was thinking of doing a stream where it's just me trying to use Blender for the first time and seeing if I can manage anything. I don't know if that would be interesting for everyone here, watching me struggle to learn a program, but it's something I've been considering. But yeah, so what I would recommend trying here is go select your texture. You can do that from the Hypershade. My Hypershade is broken, so I can't do that. So I'm gonna see if I can get to it from here. Darn it. I was hoping I'd be able to. Oh well, I can... By the way, for those of you who don't know about this, I have a very interesting bug in Maya. Let's see if I can select a material by right-clicking. Because his texture is going to be Stuart and Embody. I can click there. There we go. So this was 3A1. And then the texture is file 1. So what you want to do is make sure that your filter type, change it from quadratic to mipmap or one of the other ones and see if that helps. You could try off as well. I've heard that quadratic will sometimes show the seams. So if you turn it off, that might help solve that problem. Awesome, it fixed it. So the problem with my channel box, and I'll show you guys right now. When I go to my channel box, when I go to my Hypershade, I'll go to Windows, Rendering Editor, Hypershade. Give it a second. The Hypershade opened, and I get a fatal error. Essentially, my Hypershade is completely destroyed. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened. I don't know when it happened, but this happened back when I was using Maya 2018. And I thought it was an issue with Maya 2018. So I got Maya 2020. And the same thing happened. So I thought, must be my video card. My video card's pretty old. I'll get a replacement video card. So I spent like $1,200 on a really nice video card. The problem still happened. It turns out Maya has a bug. It is a very rare bug. But it is a problem with the registry of my computer. Maya broke something in the registry. And the only way to fix it is to do a complete system wipe of my computer and reinstall everything from scratch. I haven't had time to do that. I don't have time to do a full format of my computer, back up everything. Why don't you reinstall Windows? That might fix it, but from what I've read, that doesn't work either. Yeah, I'd have to literally back up everything on my computer, wipe the computer clean, do a format of the hard drive, and reinstall everything and put everything back on. And it's like, that's like a 3-4 day process to make sure all the drivers and software and programs and files are all working properly again, get all the codecs. It's a big process. And it's like, do I need the Hypershade that much? I've been able to just not use it for the last few years. And any texturing, I'll just go, hey, Bo, can you do that? I can't edit the registry for it. I've tried a registry cleaner. That didn't work. It's a very rare bug from what I've read, and it's one that is like, it's a deep embedded registry problem. So yeah, fun times. I've just had to learn all the different ways to find a texture file. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to help you with that though. I do want to try Maya 22. So I'll see if installing Maya 22 at some point fixes that. Would your original save file be bugged with that registry though? Possibly. I'd have to completely like wipe Maya and reinstall it from scratch. I've tried doing a clean install of Maya as well. I spent weeks trying to fix this, and yeah, it's been a problem for me for a long time. It's annoying. But yes, Taha, have you tried deleting the mel file? I have, yeah. But yeah, we'll get to Taha's shot here. So let's take a look here. And you said your notes, I'm feeling it slow down to a complete stop and then building up speed too quickly all of a sudden. I'd make the stop position a little less of a stop, tiny bit more Z, and then more gradually come out of it. Then focus on the front view and focus on the ball rotations. They don't seem to work in connection. Sure thing, I can focus on that. My Maya program on my comp, whenever I open and launch it, makes it look like it's running, opening, but the windows don't show up on my screen at all. That could be, if you had multiple monitors connected, it could have, like, maybe it's on another monitor or something. Yeah, if you had a double screen and it, like, borked, like, it disconnected one screen. I had that problem where Maya was technically on another monitor, but you couldn't access it. What I had to do, I think resetting Maya's preferences may fix that. It might put it back on your main monitor. How did I fix it myself? I think I essentially had to reconnect another monitor so I could see that space. Like maybe try moving your monitor on the other side could help. Like move like in your Windows settings. How do you do that if it won't let me see it? To reset Maya's preferences, if you're on a Windows system, all you need to do is go to your documents, go to is it under Maya? Yeah, go to Maya, take your 2020 2020, I would recommend just deleting this for all of them, because sometimes Maya likes to keep data between versions. So go to your Maya, go to the prefs folder, the preferences, and just make a copy, or sorry, rename it. So go to Maya 2020, go to the prefs folder and rename this to like old prefs. And what this will do is when you restart Maya, it'll create a new preferences folder with the base settings. It essentially allows you to reset the preferences. And the reason why I recommend just renaming it to old prefs rather than deleting it is just in case you had some preferences that you liked, you didn't delete them. You can go back and restore it or whatever. Yes, thank you for linking that A to the J. So that's something I would recommend trying, is resetting your preferences. So rename the prefs file in 2020 to Maya old prefs. Yeah. You don't. It could be renamed to whatever, but old prefs just makes it easier to know. And I would recommend deleting or renaming the preferences for any older versions of Maya you also have installed, because sometimes we've had this issue before where we reset our preferences, but it was still pulling old preference data, and it turned out it was pulling it from a previous version, because Maya is stupid and likes to pull data from previous versions. So hopefully that can help. That might reset whatever data is in Maya that is opening it on that screen. Another thing that might help is resetting your system screen resolution. So going into your like display settings, sorry, I'm just trying to organize something here. There we go. Oh, it did it. Yes. I'm glad that worked. Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad that worked. All right. So Taha, let's take a look here. So yeah, I definitely see what your mentor is talking about the stop. So when your character is walking, see how the character just stops here and kind of, like we talked about before, hits a wall. The head just stops right there and then goes forward quick and then stops again and then goes forward quick. So in terms of your translate Z, it's looking like this. It's doing the stair step. So you just want to ease that to something a little more like this. So you'll still have a bit of slowdown here and here in each of those steps, but it's not going to be so hard. So that's going to help there. And then just another note here. I think when you take the step, the toes can come down quicker. So you hit here, this is your contact, and then boom, boom, and then this next frame have the toes flat on the ground. That way it has a little bit more flop. Right now the toes just stay there and then ease down. I'd also say be careful of this right here. See this flip, how your toes on the ground here, and then when it flips, the toes suddenly shoot back. That feels very odd. What I would recommend is as you come up here, maybe move the foot up a little higher so you can get the toes more on the ground like this. And then as it's higher, it's more like this. So the toes are still dragging forward when it flips rather than like shooting back. And then kind of the same here. The foot, it looks like it's cutting through the ground there. And then it comes really horizontal to the ground, which feels a bit odd. So I would recommend bringing the leg up a little bit so you still get that drag through like this. And then here, again, bring that foot up and have the foot kind of curl around and have it still kind of pointed down like this. And then it kicks out. And right here, it kind of comes up and then back down. See how your heel is down here? And then it raises up here. So I would recommend having this kind of out with a heel lower to the ground and then plonk. This foot falls a lot slower than the other one. I recommend having one contact here, maybe one frame where it starts to come down, and then the next frame, make sure the bottom of the foot is flat on the ground. And then on this frame, everything's flat. So the toes might be up here a little bit and then flat. It's taking a little too long. Yeah, and see, this is what I was talking about with that other side. See how it, these toe flips, you want to make sure that the toe rolls over rather than flips back. Now from the front. So yeah, I can see what your mentor is talking about with the rotations not matching the movements. So one thing to keep in mind is balance. So we've talked about balance quite a bit already. When you're on this leg, that is your single balance point. So if you draw a straight line up from that, you'll see your character isn't really balanced. Most of their weight is on this side of the line, with this whole leg adding extra weight. So he would just fall over sideways. You want to make sure that you're getting a good sideways motion, side to side, when you take a step, because you need to shift your weight over that leg and then hold it there. And then as you take a step, you shift your weight back over onto this new foot that you're putting weight on. So right now you're coming up, you're very off balance, very off balance, very off balance. And then right at the top, then you swing over and then come back. So as you're coming down here, you need to start putting your weight on this foot. And then as you lift up, now that you're lifting this foot up, you need to really push that weight over. Same here, you're gonna really have that weight over, and then you come back down. So if we draw a figure 8 of this, your contact pose for, like, we'll color this foot orange and then this foot blue. So this is when you're on the blue foot. We'll call that the BF and the OF, blue foot and orange foot. So when you're on the orange foot, your contact pose will kind of favor it. So this is when we're putting weight onto it. So your contact pose will favor that because you've just put weight on it. So you're leaning more on it. The down pose takes even more of that weight. You absorb that weight into that leg. And then as you push up to your passing pose is over here. It's kind of like the furthest one away generally, because you're putting all your weight on that leg as you swing your other leg forward. Then the up pose starts to come over a little bit. You're still balanced, but you start to come over as you swing that leg forward and get ready to put weight on it. And then when you do your contact, bam, you put your next foot down and you shift your weight mostly, you start shifting your weight more onto it. And then same thing, down, passing, up. It looks kind of like that. And that gives you that figure 8. So right now, what's happening here is you have more of a, like, it goes, we track this from the contact here. So there, If we look at this, see how you're not really doing a figure eight so much as it goes pretty much down, then up, and then over, diagonal, down. So you're getting this kind of, no, it's down, up, over, like this. So it's looking a bit odd in that weight shift. You want to try and get that figure eight motion, and that'll help a lot. And then for the rotations of the overlap, so the head rotations, treat it like the overlap assignment, just like the tail, just like the pendulum. The thing I like to tend to imagine with this, which helps me, is if you look at your ball character from the side, draw a big nose on them. Imagine a big, heavy nose on the front of their face. Or whatever kind of facial feature you want to put. But I find, like, imagine your nose like is just really big and weighs a lot. So when your head pushes up, and remember, they're pushing up from like these hips. So it's pushing up from back here. When this pushes up, what happens to all this weight when you push up from back here? When you push up, this heavy nose is going to drag down. So when you push up on that, the nose is kind of going to want to drag down because it's overlap. And then when the ball drops again, when you drop, the nose is going to want to lean back up. It wants to drag behind, and that creates overlap. So when you have your character push up like this, the nose on the character is going to want to drag down. And then you reach the top, it'll kind of come back up, and then as you drop down, the nose is going to then drag down. Now you're doing kind of a sad type of walk, so you're not going to have like a lot of up and down, but there's still going to be some. And that's really going to help loosen that up. Right now it's feeling a bit stiff. So hopefully this helps. I think those would be my notes there. Now for your pose, I think this is working really well. In terms of notes for this pose, what I would recommend is try to drop the chest a little bit more and bring the hips up like this. And what that will do is give you just a little bit more body curve. Right now your body is fairly flat. By doing it like this, you're going to get more of a stronger line of action through here. And it'll also help push his chest down a little bit to get that balance a little lower, and hopefully help balance things. Then the other note I would have is possibly taking the feet, maybe put this back foot a little lower. And then this front foot, maybe angle it a little higher, just to give a little bit more variety to the leg shapes and help with the silhouette. I was buying a new, I wanted to know your thoughts on which is better, AMD or Intel for running 3D software. I personally tend to use AMD processors, though, no wait, I use Intel, I think, is the last one I bought. Either one is really good. Honestly, go with the one that works best with your motherboard and video card, really. That would be my suggestion if you're talking about the processor. I'm not too big on like which one is better, like spec for spec. Maybe look up some Maya forums, that could help you. But yeah, personally, I'm not too familiar, especially recently. Like the last time I bought any processors was quite a few years back, so I haven't looked up the new specs. And yeah, I think that would be my main notes for the pose. Is a little bit more silhouette on the feet, push the body curve a little bit, but otherwise I think this is working well. Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad it was clear and helpful. All right, so that brings us to where's that comment here? Sorry, I'm just going back here. Yeah, Gary. So, Gary, what feedback are you looking for exactly? Also depends on whatever you're using, a third-party renderer like Redshift or Octane, which requires NVIDIA cards because they support OpenGL. Yeah, that is a good point. So, are you still there, Gary? I hope so. I hope I didn't take too long. Gary? Just wanting to make sure you're still there. Be awful to do a critique on his work if he doesn't get to hear it. Let me see if I can see the participants. But yeah, while we wait to see if Gary responds, is there does anyone else have any questions or anything? You guys have anything you want to ask or talk about? Oh, it looks like Gary might not be here. I feel bad, I took too long. Alright then. So let me switch back to our camera here. And yeah, I know I didn't get to do any like drawing on the Zelda stuff today, which doesn't bother me because I much prefer giving you guys feedback and hope the talks that we had were interesting to all of you. I've got about half an hour left before I have to head off. But yeah, do you guys have any last questions before we do? I might even just call it a little early. End the stream just a little bit early for all of you. Just because it's the weekend. I know you guys have work, and yeah, I don't know if I have that much else to cover. Is the video stuttery for anyone else? Is the video stuttery for everyone? Let's see here. My chat. Sorry, my chat looks like it's like pulling from old data. Weird. That's weird, my chat. Did I miss a whole bunch of chat all of a sudden, or is my chat... Yeah, that's weird. This looks like old chat data. I reset my chat and now it's... Let me refresh. Sorry. That was weird. All of a sudden my chat blinked out and it's a different chat. There we go. This makes more sense. Wow. The entire chat was completely different for me all of a sudden. Weird. Your entire shot is now jerking about with the stomachs ballooning and stuff. If the stomachs are ballooning, that issue is right click on your timeline and turn off stepped preview, I think is the issue. Let me see. Yeah, right click on the timeline and make sure step preview is turned off and see if that helps. Ah, thank you, Woke, for the water reminder. No problem. I've had that problem a few times. It's essentially Maya not rendering the geometry correctly because stepped preview is storing cached data, and it messes up with some of the rigs and just causes weird bloating look. Oh, my pleasure. I know the feeling of something happening like right on the weekend or right near the deadline. It always happens that way too. All the problems happen right by the deadline. So yeah, sorry, my brain is shutting down a bit. I might actually just call it here just because, yeah, I'm kind of tired. It's been a long week and I might just start my weekend a little bit early, try to get some time to relax. But again, if you guys have any final questions, I'm happy to answer them. I want to make sure that you guys are all set and right before the Christmas party. Yeah, get some time before the Christmas party to actually relax, because oddly enough, Christmas is one of those times where it's supposed to be relaxing, but it's always like you have all the work to do, all the Christmas prep, and it's like go 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 go, and then by the end of Christmas it's like, oh phew, I get to relax at work again. Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad I could help you guys. I'm glad I could answer your questions. It's always fun, and like I said before, I want to reiterate this. Bo and I do this because we want to give a good community for all of you guys. We want to give a place for you all to be able to hang out, to have your questions answered, and have this awesome place to learn and grow as animators together. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of my favorite aspects of Animation Mentor. It's the reason why we did this Twitch stream, is we wanted to take that community aspect of Animation Mentor that was such a big part of our lives and put it out there for all of you, so you guys have a place to go without having to pay money for a school. You guys can all just hang out and be part of this awesome community. And something I encourage all of you to do, if you guys want, hop on the Pratt Bros Discord channel and interact with each other. Have meetups together, hop into chats and essentially share things with each other. Being part of this community, being part of the Pratt Bros community, I encourage you guys to also foster that desire to help others and that desire to just enjoy talking to other people. It's something that helped Bo and me immensely because, well, we're doing what we do now and we love it. And it's all because we pushed that aspect. Something that we learned kind of the hard way when we were students, because when we first started, we were reserved and we were quiet. I know it can be hard to put yourself out there. It can be really hard, especially like Bo and I were really shy people. All of you might not know this, but maybe you do. Maybe we've talked about it in the past, but Bo and I had severe social anxiety before we joined Animation Mentor. We hated talking in public. We hated talking to more than like one person. It was very uncomfortable for us. We would go quiet. We didn't know what to say. We had horrible social anxiety before we joined AM. And when we joined AM, we started to push ourselves to break out of that, because one, we found a community where people liked the same stuff that we did. We could talk about Darkwing Duck and people knew what we were saying. We could talk about How to Train Your Dragon and people went, "Oh yeah, I saw it too, it was awesome," and not, "Isn't that a cartoon for kids?" We found a bunch of people that shared our passion for games and animation and movies and all that stuff. So that helped a lot. But what we also realized is, if you wait for someone else to create a community for you, if you wait for someone else to be the first one to go, "Hey, let's create a Discord server and hang out like a class study room or something," if you wait for someone else to do that, if you wait for someone else to say hello, you're always going to be waiting. And everyone else is probably doing the same thing. They're also probably just waiting for someone else to take that first step. So if you take charge, if you're the one who goes, "Hey, let's do this thing. Hey, let's hang out and talk and just say hello," you might not get a response right away. People tend to be shy. But if you keep doing that, you'll gradually start building a community around yourself. You'll have your friends and the other people who share that passion start pulling in towards you. And that's kind of what happened here. Like this Twitch community, you guys are all here hanging out, chatting together, and that's awesome. And I encourage you guys to keep pushing that, because you'll find that you'll get a lot more out of either Animation Mentor by doing that, especially Animation Mentor. You'll get a lot more out of the community. But even just if you're not in Animation Mentor, just being part of the Pratt Bros Discord more, you'll start getting a lot more out of it. You'll start making good contacts, good friends, and have a place that you can go and communicate with others easily. So yeah, I'm not trying to push the Discord server on you guys, but I'm just saying, like, it's there for you. We want to create the space so you guys can all just be active together and share your links and share memes and animation goodies all together and just have a fun place. Can you talk more, AM? Planning to join after graduation? Like, how many times do I need to devote into every week? Sure, I can definitely do that. In terms of joining Animation Mentor, one of the big things is you do need time. Plenty of people do it with family and a full-time job. Like, it's doable with a family and full-time job. AM is made for that, but honestly, the more time you can spend, the better. If you can only spend like 5 hours a week on your animation, that's not a lot. I would recommend being able to spend at least 2 hours a day during the week animating. So that's like 14 hours. 20 hours is ideal, but if you can spend more than that, that's better. So maybe like 2 hours a week during the weekdays, and then maybe 3 or 4 on the weekends to get your shots done. If you can spend more than that, that's better. Spend some time, and that's just animating. Also spend time watching lectures, going through bonus lectures, going through... Animation Mentor has a huge resource of resources that's available to you under the resources, demos and tips page. Watch those lectures. There's a ton of them on everything from timing, spacing, composition, constraints, how to render, how to draw, anatomy, all that stuff. There's all these extra resources that can help you. To join AM with Martin Hopkins, I'm starting January 4th, and I feel like your streams are helping me a lot be prepared. Oh, I'm really glad. Martin Hopkins is awesome. He's a lot of fun. And I'm glad these streams are helpful. It can be intimidating jumping in when you don't know what's going to happen. And one of the things I can say when you start class 1 is they ease you in pretty nicely. Like the first week is pretty straightforward. The first week is literally just set up your profile. There's no real assignment in week 1 of the first class. And that's because they want you to take time to get used to the campus. Don't spend your week 1 sitting back doing nothing. I see a lot of students do that where it's like, oh, week 1 is so boring. Why don't they give us an assignment? Well, technically the assignment is learn the campus. Go through all the resources that you can on the orientation. Set up Maya. Set up your... learn how to submit assignments. Learn how to join Q&As. Learn about the event calendar on the campus. Like the first week should just be you going wherever you can on the campus and learning everything you can about it. Open Maya. Get things set up. Get your license for Maya set up. Try opening a rig. Try opening all sorts of stuff so that when it comes time to doing the assignments, you're not just suddenly, oh shoot, I have to do everything. You already know how, and then you know where the resources are to refresh yourself. Like, oh, how do I submit again? Oh yeah, it's under here. So I really encourage you guys, spend that first week exploring. Hop into every Q&A you can. If you see a Q&A on the event calendar that you can attend, hop into it. Whatever the reason, just hop in and see what's going on. If there's a Q&A on your calendar, it's open to you guys. Does AM give degrees then too? Like what other art universities have that would be accepted by art industry? It's the first time hearing about AM. So Animation Mentor doesn't give an art degree or like an animation, a bachelor's degree in animation, because honestly, bachelor's degrees in animation are, I don't mean to be mean, but they're kind of garbage in the sense that you don't need them at a studio. Every recruiter I've ever talked to, I've talked to Blizzard recruiters, I've talked to Disney recruiters, DreamWorks recruiters, Pixar recruiters, ILM recruiters, like I've talked to them. None of them care about a fancy degree from, oh, I got this bachelor's degree in animation and art from whatever fancy school. They don't care, because if your work doesn't look good, it's not like, oh wow, you got a master's degree in this thing, but your work's not good, so we're not going to hire you. Like, animation is one of those industries where what matters more is your demo reel. So Animation Mentor, it's not an accredited school because they don't follow the strict rules of an accredited school. Like, to be accredited, you have to have you have to do certain things a certain way. But AM has its own workflow for how they handle students passing classes, how they handle degrees and whatnot. It doesn't matter. That kind of stuff doesn't matter, because when you go to apply at Disney or Pixar or Blizzard, what they're going to do is go, hey, does your work look good? Do you have a good attitude? If you do, yeah. And that's what gets people hired, is having a good attitude and having a good work on your demo reel. And that's it. So you don't need a degree. They're not going to go that you have to have a bachelor's. All they really look for is experience. And with that, yeah, if you're going to a school that's really expensive only because they say that they'll give you a degree, that doesn't sit well with me, because a degree is not going to get you a job. And if they're charging that much extra money just to get a degree, that's kind of scamming you. In, like, not to be mean to the school, maybe they're a great school, but having been in the industry for 10 years, you don't need it. it's kind of a worthless piece of paper. It's not like other jobs where you have to have it. Animation is all about your skill and your attitude. And you can often get a job with less skill and a good attitude. So this is something important for all of you. You don't have to be the best animator. You just have to be a good animator. And why they mention degrees in job applying? Oftentimes in animation, they tend not to mention a degree. They tend to mention education level. Like they'll ask if you've had any post-secondary education, but they don't tend to ask for like, do you have a specific degree? Mostly when they ask that, that's just part of like job applications. They want to know, hey, did you graduate high school, and what other education did you get? But oftentimes they don't tend to care all too much about that. Currently AM student here, and I definitely highly recommend the program. Awesome. I'm always glad that you guys are recommending AM because I love AM. Like Bo and I adore Animation Mentor. It's the school we started in, and we now work there, and it's our family. Like Animation Mentor isn't just a job. It's the staff there, the students there. They are our family. Like we love Animation Mentor, and it's nice to see you guys who are in it also enjoying it. But yeah. Job applications for animation often don't need a degree. It's great for actually equipping you to get a job. Yeah, that's one thing I like about Animation Mentor is this is something that is kind of like it sucks, but is also really nice about Animation Mentor. And when I say sucks, it sucks because it's frustrating as a student. Animation Mentor is harder than the job industry. If you guys can succeed at Animation Mentor, you can succeed in the industry. Because what you do in Animation Mentor, they give you strict deadlines. They give you assignments that are kind of difficult. It's hard to get through sometimes, especially in the later classes. It's like, man, you have to really like push through to get it done. But the reason is because they want to prepare you for the industry. They don't want to make it easy that you just breeze through and then you get out in the industry and it's like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. If you can succeed at Animation Mentor, the job at Disney, at Pixar, at ILM, whatever, is going to be easier. So it's awesome when you graduate and it's like you go into a studio and it's like, oh crap, can I even manage this? And then it's like, wait, I can do this. It's a great feeling to have gone through, I guess you could say, the ringer and then come out and be ready. And even if you're not quite ready for a job after you graduate, like there's no guarantee that your reel will be job ready. There's no guarantee that your work will be quite at the level to get a job. Like that's no school can guarantee you a job. But Animation Mentor, what it prepares you for is the ability to continue to grow. And this is the important thing. I've seen a lot of people finish a university program and then they're like, well, what do I do now? Like, I don't know. And they're just sitting there completely lost. With Animation Mentor, the point isn't to get you a job, and you shouldn't join a school with that specific goal in mind, because a school is not there to teach you and give you a job. A school is there to teach you to make you job ready. So once you graduate Animation Mentor, and this is what happened to me, like when I graduated, I wasn't really job ready. Like I did get offered a job, but it turned out the studio was really bad, and Bo and I passed it up, and we were lucky we did because it turned out to be a really bad like local studio. I wasn't really like confident in my work, but what I learned from AM is how to study. I learned how to continually push myself, and I learned how to grow as an animator, so that once I finished, a lot of the stuff that we teach you guys here in these streams are stuff that we learned after the fact. We learned on our own because we learned how to study and grow. And we've gotten better and better and better after we graduated. That is what AM teaches you, is how to grow as an animator, so that even if you're not quite ready for a job after you graduate, you can keep going and then you'll be ready. You can keep growing. And AM also offers the community of Animation Mentor, where you can always go back to the community and ask your friends, hey, do you mind taking a look at my work? Hey, I'm trying this new shot. Can you give me some feedback? It gives you that place where you can, even if you're not in a course, you still have a place where you can get that important feedback and grow. And these Twitch streams are kind of part of that, that Bo and I wanted to give out to all of you. So yeah. I apologize if it sounds like I'm gushing and trying to like go join AM, like money. No, like that's not it. If there's another animation school you guys love, go for it. Like Anim School and Anim Squad, they're great schools. I know the people who teach there and own those schools. They're great people. I'm not going to put them down, but personally, I love AM. I love it as a community. And if it wasn't for that community, I probably wouldn't have been around for 10 years since I joined it, because there would be nothing keeping me there. It's because there's that heart of Animation Mentor. And when you go to conventions, one of the great things I love is Animation Mentor is the only school where you see a bunch of people at an animation convention all wearing the same shirt. You never really see like Anim School t-shirts and people in Anim School t-shirts hanging around. You don't see people in I Animate t-shirts hanging around. But every convention I've been to that is an animation convention, it's like a bunch of people in black shirts with the AM logo going, hey, how are you? Oh my god, it's so great to finally meet you. And they all gather around. It's like, oh, it's so cool. Like, AM is a community. It is a place where you make friends, you make industry contacts, and the people that I joined AM with when I was a young squire of animation, a young baby animator, all these other baby animators that were in there with me learning animation, who were like, they were all just a bunch of nobodies. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but I mean that in the sense that we were all just a bunch of, we didn't know each other. We all came from different walks of life, and we all just jumped into this animation boat together. And now 10 years later, I'm still friends with these people that I started AM with, but now they're Disney animators and they're lead animators on projects. They're game animators. It's so cool that these people that I started off knowing as, oh, this is my friend, the AM Brony, because he liked My Little Pony cartoons, and is now like the lead animator on a video game project. It's like, how did you become a successful, cool animator? You were like this silly guy that used to like drawing dinosaurs in top hats with me, and now like it's so cool. And that is the thing that keeps me going with AM, is seeing all of you going through it and seeing where you guys will go and where you guys will continue. It's fantastic. So sorry, that was a long round of gushing. My brain is very tired, so I'm kind of in that rambly mode. But yeah, are there any final questions before we wrap up? Any final comments? Thank you all so much again for sitting through this stream. I hope you guys had fun. It's always fun looking at your work and giving feedback, answering your questions. It's something Bo and I really enjoy doing because, again, we want to create a community where you guys learn and grow, that you don't go there going, is animation really for me? I don't know anything about it. We want to give you a space that is open to that, to asking questions and growing. So yeah, I think with that, I'm going to wrap up here. Again, thank you all so much. I apologize for my rambling today. I've been pretty tired. I hope I can get this weekend to rest. So I'm glad you guys enjoy it. It means a lot. So yeah, with that, I think I'm going to head off here. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Best of luck with your assignments if you're working on assignments. If you are just having a weekend, enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. And I will see you all later. So take care, everyone. All the best. Bye.